Alright, now, I know this is a little different than usual. I talk about movies. This is a movie review ranking channel, whatever you want to call it. But I really like, this is my favorite band. Before it was Motley Crue, but just going into this band, listening to all their music, this is my favorite band, alright. And I went to a concert. I saw them live a few days ago. That was great. So I just really wanted to make this video because this is probably the only band that I've heard every song of. I've listened to all the albums, the EPs, everything. And today, we're ranking the albums, and I'm including the EPs. So that would be Statica and Black Rain. So that makes 11 entries. 9 albums, 2 EPs, I think. Without further ado, let's get right to it. And now, my 11th spot here. It's kind of cheating, I will say. It's Black Rain. It's because this EP is four or five songs, I think, and it's just basically just a collection of the songs they made for Call of Duty. Now these aren't like horrible songs or anything. They're just not songs I would ever choose to listen to. And they have no flow, there's no like connectivity to them because they're completely separate songs put together in an EP. So that goes last. And to be honest, I only included this just so I could include Statica, because I figured if I included that, I had to include this because they're both EP, like same length EPs. So yeah. Number 10 spot. I have no idea how long this video will be. I've spent like 2 hours writing these notes, and these are the most notes I've ever written for anything. Like in my entire life, that includes like school projects and everything, so we'll see. Number 10, Diamonds in the Rough. Now, this is interesting because this album was made with leftover songs that didn't make it onto the self-titled album, which is an album I really like, and we'll get to later. And you can kind of feel it. You can tell that these are songs that kind of have the same feel as the self-titled, but don't quite reach the level of those songs, so that they got left off, obviously. This feels like a collection of leftover songs. And a lot of these are covers, and the covers are fun. Like hearing them play Walk by Pantera and Paranoid is fun, but it doesn't feel like they're adding their style to it. It feels more like they're just playing it. Like it's Avenged Sevenfold playing Paranoid or playing Walk. It's not Avenged Sevenfold like recreating it or doing it in their own style. No, it's just them playing the song. So they're kind of pointless. Like I would never really listen to that over the original version. And the best song on here, I'd say, is Crossroads, and I think it got released as a single as well. But even that, I don't think is among their best. None of the songs on here really stick out to me. There are some that I like, but nothing on here that I would choose to listen to over other albums. And overall, it's just a pretty forgettable album. I mean, yeah. I think even themselves, like Avenged Sevenfold themselves, has said they don't like this album, and it makes sense. They didn't play any song of this album off when I saw them live, and they made sure to at least check the box of each album. Besides, I also think they didn't play anything from the stage either. Yeah, it's just a forgettable album. I probably won't listen to many of these songs going forward. This was the last album I listened to, because what I did was, I already listened to a bunch of their music, but before the concert, I wanted to be like fully prepared, So I listened to all the albums, and this was the last one I listened to, and it was kind of a slog to get through, I'm not gonna lie. But number 9, this one's interesting. Number 9 is Statica. Now, the first time I actually heard these songs was live. At the concert I went to, it was kind of weird. They presented it as an entirely different thing. Like, At no point when they were about to play Statica did they say that it was Avenged Sevenfold playing Statica or Avenged Sevenfold presents Statica. It was now playing Statica. Like, they presented it as its own thing entirely. And they didn't really perform it. They played it on the speakers and had like screens up of like the you know, the images for the album and stuff. And no one liked it. I'm sorry, no one. I was in the field. People were booing and telling them to turn it off. But honestly, the second and third tracks on this EP, I think, are pretty decent. Honestly, they're listenable. I don't mind them. I wouldn't go out of my way to listen to them. But dude, the first track is a nothing burger. I mean, it's like an intro, I guess, but it's like why would you want to listen to the first track? The fourth track is just insanely boring. Like, it bored me. There's nothing really to it. And I know that when they release this on vinyl, they're going to add 2 more tracks, so I'm interested to see what those end up being. But as this is right now, it's just kind of lame. I mean, it's obviously not what you want from Avenged Sevenfold. And I saw an interesting argument that people are fans of a genre, not fans of a band. And I just think that what the sound they're tackling here isn't the best that it can be done. And 2 of the tracks are just boring, to me at least. As an overall listening experience, it is interesting. Artistically, it's interesting. But again, nothing I would ever choose to really listen to. But it's not like the worst thing in the world. It's, again, I had 2 things below it. I think a lot of people would just have it dead last. I still have 2 things below this. But it's still nothing special, nothing interesting to me. So moving on. I'm kind of breezing through this faster than I thought I would. But I don't have a lot to say about these early entries. But number 8. Now, I had a real hard time past this point. These next, 3 could really move around, depending on how I'm feeling. But number 8 is Sounding the Seventh Trumpet. Now, this is their debut album. And it's pretty different from their next few albums that they would release. This is much more of a kind of like punk album in a way. Like, I heard it be called skater punk, which is, yeah, it's pretty much that. A lot of this is a lot of screaming. It's the most screaming they ever do, even more than Waking the Fallen. But the big problem for me here, also, by the way, a huge jump for how much I like this, the last entry. But the big problem here is that a lot of the songs kind of bleed into each other and kind of sound the same. There are some songs I like on here. I say there's about 3 to 4, maybe 5 songs on here that I like. 3 that I know I really like. The closing track I really like. And I also like Warmness in the Soul. Now, it's their first ballad, pretty much, and a lot of people would say that it's corny or too slow, and I agree, it is corny, but I like it. It's a nice palate cleanser from the rest of the album, and that guitar solo in the middle is really cool. But some of the other tracks I like as well. But just other than the songs that I do like on here, the rest of the album I wouldn't really ever listen to. This isn't an album I would ever start to finish listen to, probably ever again. There are songs I would pick and choose to listen to, and I'm listening through Avenged Sevenfold music, but they're not going to be the first ones I go to, and it's only going to be a few off this album. So it's a good start for them. You can tell, like, there's a lot of elements move on into future albums, but they also kind of drop this sort of punky type aesthetic pretty fast. You see it a little bit maybe in Waking the Fallen, but not really as much here as you do here. just an album that I wouldn't choose to listen to over the things above it besides select songs. But that being said, I almost put it above the next album, but I think the next album on my list has some bigger hits on it that I would listen to over anything on this album. And that next album being my number 7, with The Stage. Now, I know this is a pretty divisive album. I'm pretty mixed on it. There's things that I really like on here, but there are things that I also really don't. I don't like the title track very much, and I know people like that song. I don't like it. It just doesn't really stick with me very much. And I know people also like Sunny Disposition. I don't like that song very much either. But there are some great tracks on here. I really do like Goddamn and Creating God and Angles. I think those are nice. I also like Roman Sky and Higher. Those are all, I think, really good songs. Especially Goddamn. I think it's the best song on the album. But the final 2 tracks I don't like at all. And like I said, I don't like the title track or Sunny Disposition. So there are things that on here that I don't care for. When a lot of these albums going forward, I like either every song, or there's only 1 or 2 songs that I would skip on a listen through. It's just, I don't know, a lot of the tracks are maybe a little too long, and I know I like long songs. Avenged Sevenfold has a lot of long songs. These ones I just feel don't really quite hit the mark that their other longer songs do. I really considered putting Sounding the Seventh Trumpet over this. I really did, but I just think it edges out a little bit. Also, this has bonus tracks on the deluxe edition, where I'm not gonna count that as a part of the album's quality because it's bonus tracks, but they're mostly just fun covers of other songs, like a cover of Runaway by Della Shannon. That's fun. But nothing I'd ever listen to. I wouldn't listen to any of them over the originals. Yeah, but they're fun, but kind of pointless. Moving on. My number 6, Hail the King. Now, this is their most commercially popular album, and you can see why. I mean, it has their 2 most popular songs. It's much more of maybe a throwback album, much more of a generic metal album, which for a lot of people would be a problem, I would see, but I love generic metal. I mean, I'm wearing a Ride the Lightning shirt. So it appeals to me, but you can also see that it doesn't really have their artistic touch or their specific flavor. It's kind of them just doing the Black Album, which is fine. I like the Black Album, but it's not very unique to this band. I feel like any band of this sort could make this album, for the most part. The first 2 songs on this on this album, iconic. I mean, you have Hail the King and Shepherd of Fire. I mean, the 2 most popular songs. Great songs. Shepherd of Fire is how I got introduced to this band because of Call of Duty, COD Zombies. And I still love that track. I think it's better than Hail the King. Both of them they played when I went to see them live. Great experience. Everyone going, Hail! Hail! During Hail the King was great. It was fun. But you can tell, especially Shepherd of Fire, very inspired by Metallica and that sort of stuff. I mean, Shepherd of Fire is basically just Enter Sandman. I like it better than Enter Sandman, but it kind of is just that. Other standout songs here would be Doing Time, Heretic, Planets. Decent songs, not some of my favorites, but they are good songs in the album. Acid Rain as a closing track I think is pretty decent. I think it's also a pretty decent ballad, not one of their best, but a good ballad. It's better than Crimson Day, the other ballad on here. I think Crimson Day is maybe their worst ballad. I don't like that song very much, and it's kind of forgettable. And Requiem is also a pretty forgettable song. I couldn't even tell you how it goes, to be honest. I think this is a good middle placement for the ranking. This is number 6, so 6 out of 11, not exactly middle, but still a pretty good middle placement. I just think that this is a good middle ground for the band, you know. But moving on is, now I feel like a lot of people might have this one a bit higher, especially considering one of the ones I have above it. City of Evil is my number 5 pick. Now, to be honest, there's a fair few songs on this album, like even more so than maybe the last album I covered, that I don't like. I don't really like Burn It Down or Blinded in Chains or Thrashed and Scattered or Betrayed. I think those are all pretty mid songs. I don't prefer to listen to any of them. But this album has some of their best. Backcountry, Seize the Day, Sidewinder, The Wicked, and MIA. Great, all great songs. Backcountry and MIA, amazing. They played Backcountry, MIA, and Seize the Day at the concert. Great. People were going insane during Backcountry. So fun. In the beginning where he says, "He who makes a beast out of himself gets rid of the pain of being a man." I love hearing that every time. But some of the best melodies that we ever get from Avenged Sevenfold is in this album with MIA and Backcountry. I think Backcountry, it just pure musically is one of the best songs. It's one of my favorites, always has been. It's amazing. Everybody knows that. But there are things on here that just really drag it down. It's a really long album. I think 70 something minutes, 75 minutes, something like that. A lot of that is because the back half is all those songs, so it's 7 minutes plus. And a lot of some of those songs I don't care for. So I think you could be trimmed down a lot. There are songs on here that I skip all the time. So it's just held down by a few songs that I don't like very much. And I'm kind of iffy. I'm kind of Beast and the Harlot. I know people love that song. I'm kind of indifferent to it. It's not one of my favorites. I'll listen to it if it comes on, but not one I pick very much. But moving on. Number 4. Now, moving on from here, I think these are all 10 out of 10 perfect albums, alright? There isn't a single song in any of these albums I would skip besides maybe one on this next one. Number 4, Waking the Fallen. Now, this has some of their best songs. They're still screaming. It's still pretty heavy. So it's nice to hear all that. Only song I'm not a big fan on is Desecrate Through Reverence. That's a skip. That's an easy skip for me on this album. The only one I would skip on this album. But it has some really underrated songs. Like Eternal Rest and Clairvoyant Disease. Super underrated, amazing songs. The screaming and the clean vocals both sound amazing. I also think my storage is about to run out, so give me a second. I'm back. Sorry if the camera is in a slightly different spot. 1 second, I forgot my notes. Alright. I don't know why I have a hair sticking up. Okay. What was I talking about? Waking the Fallen. Right. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's completely lost my flow. But the screaming and the clean vocals all sound amazing. Rev's voice is amazing on this track. So is on this album. So is M Shadows. Guitar work, amazing. You have some iconic songs on here like Unholy Confessions and Chapter 4, some of their best. I'm not like that high on Unholy Confessions, I'll be honest. I think there's much better songs on this album, but that opening riff, iconic, everyone knows it. Just all around unforgettable riffs throughout this whole thing. The first 3 tracks are all amazing. I Won't See You Tonight, I count them as one song, but you can separate them into part 1 and part 2. But part 1 for sure, if you're separating them, is one of, if not my favorite song by Avenged Sevenfold. It's long, it's one of their longest, but I love it. It's fun to sing. The guitar is so, and the drums is all amazing. It's such like an atmospheric sort of sound. One of my favorites. This album is amazing. It took me like way too long to listen through this album. Like, I wish I had heard all these beforehand, like way before in my life, but this album is amazing. This is like what got them on the map, really. This is what people kind of know them for. This or City of Evil. And this album is amazing. I wish I could put it higher, but these next 3 albums are just on a whole complete other level, like for me at least. Like, this is up there with them, but these next 3 albums, some of my favorite albums of all time. So let's get to them. Number 3 is Life Is But a Dream. Now, I know this is another divisive one, kind of like The Stage, but I like this a lot more than The Stage, obviously. And this album, it grows on you so much. If I was ranking these when I first heard this album, it would probably be at least a few spots lower. But it grows on you. Like, I always liked tracks like Nobody and Mattel and Cosmic. Like, Nobody and Cosmic are just some of the best songs ever. Cosmic is fantastic. Such a unique, amazing, like, ever-changing song. Like, it has so many different genres and styles. That can be said for the whole album, not even just in that song. This whole album, you have changes in genres and styles, sometimes in one song, like in Cosmic. Honestly, the first 5 songs on the album are amazing, and I always liked all 5 of them. But then, like, after that, like, it kind of dropped off for me. But like, as time went on, I listened to them more, listening to the album again. Songs like Easier and G, and Beautiful Morning have really grown on me. So I think G is one of my favorites on the album now, so is Beautiful Morning. And Death, I think, is a really underrated song. It's rock and roll Frank Sinatra, as I've heard it be called, and it is basically that. And I love Frank Sinatra. I love that older kind of music. So just to hear that kind of like in metal form is really cool. It's a lot of these songs are also really dark. Like, a lot of them are about death. And like, there's some fun themes to look into if you're really into that sort of thing. I'm not very qualified to talk about that. Not a music critic. This is very different and weird for me. But this album is just amazing through and through. 10 out of 10. Amazing listening experience. Just like completely like so unique and special to this band. So I really think this is an album that only Avenged Sevenfold can make. Just listen to this front to back, and it's an unforgettable experience. This is going a lot faster than I thought. I guess I have less to say than I thought. Again, I don't know all the fancy music critic terminology. I'm not a music critic. I review movies, and that's what I'm good at. That's what I know about. So I'm less educated, so I have less to say, I guess. But number 2 is Nightmare. This album, I think, is just all around probably their best album. Not a single skip, all great, just very consistent quality. Oh, I lost one of my pages to my notebook. Uh, very consistent quality all around. Every song here is amazing. You have some of their best ballads: Buried Alive, So Far Away, Fiction, You Save Me, if you count that as a ballad. All great. Buried Alive and So Far Away are some of my favorite songs by them. The way Buried Alive changes about like a little over halfway through into a little faster pace. Great, just like vocal melodies here from M Shadows. I think his voice sounds really good in this album. The songwriting is amazing. You still had the Rev doing a lot of the songwriting and the drums. He sadly passed before the album came out, with Fiction being like his last like song that he performed on. So this song has the best opening track of any album on this list, with Nightmare. One of their best songs, one of the most popular songs as well. Just a great pump up, like, just what a great metal song. Welcome to the Family, Dangerline, God Hates Us, Victim, really cool songs. I really like God Hates Us. That part in the middle, or liar, rape, like fair, like that part is really good. Just, yeah, this album is really good. Great listen through. I wouldn't really skip any of these songs. I like all of them. Some of their most underrated songs on here, like again with God Hates Us, and I had another one in mind. I can't remember. Tonight the World Dies. There we go. Just great. I also listened to this way too late. I wish I listened to this album way sooner. It's great. But honestly, I'm really biased. But this next album is just honestly my favorite album of all time. It is currently my favorite album by any artist, any band, and that's the self-titled. I genuinely think this is a masterpiece. 10 out of 10, no skips, amazing. The run of critical acclaim to Gunslinger, like that run of songs right there, is amazing. Critical acclaim is a really good classic opening track. Just all 10 out of 10 songs from that way onward. And then you have Unbound, which I'm a little higher on than some people, but I still think it's probably the weakest song on the album. There's good parts in it. I don't think we need the end with the children's choir singing the chorus. I think we could have cut that off. But still a really good song that I would listen to. I would choose to listen to that song sometimes, you know. Brompton Cocktail is an underrated masterpiece, one of the best on the album, one of their best songs overall. Just the way it flows and the guitar, it's so good, and it's a really good song. Afterlife is of course a top 3 song of Avenged Sevenfold. Amazing song, great to hear it live. And now I was actually really disappointed. Afterlife was the only self-titled song they played at the concert. I would have liked some more. I would have liked Brompton Cocktail or Scream or Almost Easy or Gunslinger. Any of those I would have really liked. I was really disappointed they didn't play Little Piece of Heaven. I would have loved to hear that live. But whatever, it's whatever. I had a fun time. So, and Afterlife is the song I would want to hear the most live anyway. So I think M Shadow's voice is the best of any album on here. The Rev's vocals, while they're lessened, they're not on here as much as some of the previous albums. But they're legendary lines. Like his part in Afterlife, where they're kind of like, not really duetting, but like they're singing separate parts at the same time, is amazing. I love singing that. It's one of my favorite parts in any song ever. So yeah, and then of course Little Piece of Heaven is an iconic song. It's really, Little Piece of Heaven is really what kind of got me into this band. I'd already known them through Shepherd of Fire, Head of the King, Nightmare. I knew the basic stuff. Then some random kid at school, he wasn't a kid, he was older, he's a senior and I was a freshman, I think. I was wearing a band shirt, I don't remember which one, and he goes, "Oh, cool shirt, you should listen to a Little Piece of Heaven by Avenged Sevenfold." I'm like, okay. So I went home, listened to it. I'm like, oh my god, this is like so different. I've never heard anything like this. I'm going to check out more of their music. So I did. Eventually, I'm at the point where I've heard all of their music now, and it was all because of A Little Piece of Heaven. It's now it's not one of my favorites of them. Actually, well, I would say it is one of my favorites, but it's not like top 3, maybe not even top 5. But it's such a unique song that I could only really imagine Avenged Sevenfold playing. And it's an amazing, like, penultimate song on the album. Like, because that going into Dear God is really good, like, contrast, and that makes for a great closing 2 tracks. Yeah, just... And this is also just a really good entry point to the band in general, this album. If I ever were to recommend anything from this band to get someone into it, I would recommend the self-titled. I would say, listen to the self-titled, and then probably listen to if you like it, listen to Waking the Fallen and City of Evil. Oh no, I'll listen to Nightmare, Waking the Fallen, then City of Evil. I just think this is like a really good jumping off point. It gets you into the band, it gets you ready for their kind of music, because it kind of has the flavors of the previous albums, but it's not like as like screamy and hardcore as some of those earlier albums. But it's also kind of some slower songs, more like vocal melodies and stuff in here that will have you ready for ballads on stuff like on Nightmare, and just all around 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10 album. I mean, it's my favorite album. Just great stuff. I mean, I don't really know what to make of this video. I wrote some notes on each album, and I kind of just freestyled going from there. I'm not a music critic. I'm not Anthony Fantano, you know. But I wanted to try my hand at this and see how I could do reviewing something and ranking something that isn't a movie. I don't know if I did well. I feel like I talked fast. I had gotten better at talking a little slower and more deliberate, but like, I don't really know what I'm talking about with this, so I'm a little nervous making it. Please don't make fun of me for my lack of knowledge of music. I'm trying. I'm learning a lot more music lately. I've been listening to new artists that I hadn't listened to before. I've been going through albums I've never listened to before. But if you get a chance to see Avenged Sevenfold live, I recommend it. I really do. Great experience. Just listen to these. Listen to this band. Listen to these albums. Like, my top 5 albums, I would always say, are good listens. Go listen to all of them. Yeah. I mean, I kind of, to be honest, I kind of wish that I could have put Statica a little higher, because I really wanted to like that EP. But I can't. I just can't. It's not very good. But yeah, that's about it. Bye.